So a solid 61 days later, I was sent to a therapeutic boarding school the day after my 17th birthday. Welcome back to Emily Iris's Story. I'm filming in a natural light, so I think that I'm kind of impressed with the webcam quality today. Also,
story time, bitches.
As you could tell, I'm not exactly a makeup connoisseur or professional. That was just kind of for fun. Today I'm going to get a little bit more personal. It's something that for a while I was really ashamed of. Even though in the end it made me a much stronger person. And I'm not sure how, in a matter of seconds, this is what happens to my lighting. Are you kidding me? So all it took was a little adjusting of the blinds, and there's still some weird light reflection on my face, but try our best to ignore that. So where to begin? First things first, let me turn on my fan because I'm hot. It's like 40 degrees outside, but damn if it's not hot in here. The fan is going, and I am ready to dive in. So, high school. Most of us have been there, done that. I think for 90% of people, high school is a struggle. As a teenager, I was rebellious. Got myself into some trouble. I don't really want to get into the details of that, maybe at another time. But as a result, my parents decided to send me to a wilderness camp. The night they firmly decided that I needed to go there, my friend Emma and I were in the process of sneaking out of my house. My dad was asleep on the living room couch, where he frequently lies, and he caught us. Woke up, there was a big scene. In the morning, my life changed. Now, I wasn't really sure where I was going or what I would have to do, but I knew it wasn't going to be fun. It was a place in the mountains, which is about 3 hours west of the town that I'm from, so it was quite a journey in the car with my parents. I will say that at one point from the back seat, I became so frustrated, I took my bottle of water, screwed off the cap, and emptied the contents of it onto my mother's head in the passenger seat. Not my finest moment. But if that is a portrayal of my frustration and anger and just confusion, I guess that would be it, because that's not normal behavior for me. So my parents dropped me off, and I was like, I didn't pack a bag for this or anything, like what am I gonna live off of? And it turns out that at this program, you don't need to bring anything. They provide it all for you. Black nylon pants, long sleeve blue thermal, and note that this was June of 2015 from North Carolina, so the climate was very hot. And like I said, I was in the mountains. So our daily activities were going to be hiking. Along with our pants and thermal shirts, 2 shirts, so we could alternate. We got 2 pairs of socks, a fleece hoodie for when it got cold, which surprisingly it did at night in the mountains at high elevations. It could get a little chilly even in the summer. We had a rain jacket and rain pants, bright yellow, really attractive. It did rain several times, and hiking boots. Oh, how I wish I could display those boots right now. Because those things went through the ringer. As you can tell, they're only about an outfit and a half. And that was our uniform. As in, we wore it every day. And we were in the wilderness. Therefore, no access to a washer or a dryer. Or a shower. I went, at most, 18 days without bathing. Needless to re-mention, we hiked daily. So in the morning, we would wake up, make our oats. We each had a mug and a spoon. And that's what we used for every meal. We also got a pack of food every week that consisted of like tortillas, a jar of peanut butter, which surprisingly would not last the entire week because that was kind of like our treat. A little packet of brown sugar, which I would put in my oats every day, but we had to ration this stuff. And our lunch could only be consisted of what was in our personal food bag. So, like the group collectively had oats, there were beans, rice, lentils, things like that we would make for dinner. But for lunch, we had to ration our own foods because we would usually take our lunch breaks during our hikes. So every day after we ate our oats, we would pack up our camp and go for a hike to another campsite. That's the thing, we were hiking to destinations. So our hikes were usually about 2 miles long, uphill. We weren't allowed to talk during them. And when we got to our camp, we had to set up camp. So each of us would carry like a tent or a tarp or the donch bucket, which is, yes, where we used the bathroom. There was a tarp for in front of that too, so you wouldn't have to do it, in front of everybody. So we each carried our different things and got to camp and had to set them up. And then we would have time to work on our skills, which were building fires and animal traps. Not to be used to actually capture animals, but like we would carve sticks and have to set them up a certain way, so that if an animal were to come, it would, a rock or something would fall on them. We had to build 3 of those throughout our time there. We had a program booklet that had different, we would have to identify different trees. We would have to fill in the booklets. It wasn't just all about nature, Like I said, it was a therapeutic program, so the purpose of this was for us to take a step back from our lives. I mean, all of us viewed it as a punishment, but now I see it as a learning experience. We had our booklets, we made our traps, we had to make our own fires, which included gathering tinder bundles, peeling the bark off of poplar branches were what we normally used. Or there was a certain kind of moss that was really flammable that we would make our tinder bundles with. And there were quartz rocks all around. They're everywhere in the North Carolina mountains, the Appalachians. And so we had strikers, which were tools that we had to ask for. We had to look the counselor directly in the eye and say, may I please use the striker? And so we had to strike the quartz rock until a spark directly hit our tinder bundle. And then after that, we had to pile small sticks and then larger sticks until the fire grew. And it had to burn for 10 minutes, a 20 minute, and 30 minute, one of each. I'm pretty sure. Those are the requirements. Oh, honestly, I could go on forever about this place. I think a part of me blocks a lot of it out. It was really, really difficult to get through. I don't really think that I'm explaining the struggle well enough. I don't ever think I'll be able to. I'm hoping though that this will reach some of you that may have been through something similar, or those of you that were in this with me, whom I still talk to frequently. I am so eternally grateful for all of you, by the way. But I was not grateful when I had to make those fires and build those traps and never know what time it was. Keep in mind that this was very remote. We had absolutely no contact with any of our friends or our family even. We could write to our parents every week. Therapists would come on Tuesdays, I believe, and bring us our letters and have individual sessions with us, which would last about 40 minutes to an hour, if we were lucky. I have to say that that portion of the program could definitely use some work, considering that the sole reason why people are enrolled in that program is to get therapeutic help to work through their issues. Some of us never really got over like the resentment towards our parents for putting us in that place and taking us away from our lives. Because when you go back home, it's like everything has changed, even just in a matter of 2 months. But for me specifically, I didn't even want to go back home. I was afraid of falling back into the same patterns that I was exhibiting. So for those of us who did not want to return to the environment we were in, or for those that wanted to, but it definitely wasn't the best choice for them, therapeutic boarding schools were recommended. Now, raise your hand if you have never heard of one of those. And I'm sure that's a lot of hands. And some of you might be thinking that sounds kind of nice, you know, like therapy is meant to help you, like it's meant to be soothing. But therapy can also be painful, almost paralyzing, because you can get to a point where there's nothing else to say and you don't know how to work through these things that you're clearly dealing with. And you know, a therapist's job isn't to tell you what to do. It's to help guide you to find out what you need to do. And if you're not in the right headspace to figure that out, then you're just going to be stuck on this treadmill. So that's where a lot of us, including myself, were. And I really didn't know what exactly to expect when I was sent to my therapeutic boarding school. But part of me was optimistic about it. And then after about a few weeks there, I was extremely pessimistic. I even got myself into a bit of trouble there as well. Let me remind you that this is where I spent my entire senior year of high school, and the school in which I graduated from. And now that I am very proud of. I don't even know how I did it sometimes. Actually, I do know the #1 contributor that got me through that school, and those are the friends that I made. You all know who you are, and I love you with every fiber of my being. When I was younger, I thought that expression was fiber of my being. I actually confessed my love to a boy using that phrase when I was about 9 years old. And if my cousins ever find this video, you'll remember what circumstance I'm talking about. But to get back on topic, I would love to speak further about my experience at therapeutic boarding school. However, my last video, I believe, was entirely too long, and I don't want to keep you guys here any longer today either. Mainly, I just want people to know that whatever it is you are struggling with, whatever hardships you have faced or are facing, it gets better. I promise it does, and it can, and it's all up to you and your mindset. If nobody else has said this to you today, then I'm telling you that I believe in you, and life can only go. Thank you for watching. Dare I say subscribe again? That might be my tagline, but it's kind of lame. Anyway, Love you all. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. You're amazing. Peace and blessings.